Do you feel like the Goice was a segment of the podcast that had potential? Like, could there be future Goices? Greetings and welcome to the Supply Drop, episode 32, a game podcast created by three people who are tired of listening to other people's podcasts. My name is Nate. I'll be your host. I'm joined by my two other co-hosts, the first being Scott. Scott.
Hello, everybody. Yes.
I have a question for you.
Yeah, hit it.
Last month, two new American football leagues just launched, the XFL and the USFL.
Right.
If you had $500 million or $1 billion or $1.5 billion, could you create a sport that's more compelling than football?
Yeah, I think I could do it with $58 in a dare. Yeah.
Yeah. You guys know.
That's not coming from a football fan, though.
Okay.
Right.
You guys know I've been watching the Bills because I have to. I grew up in Buffalo.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I'm constantly thinking like the games they're exactly the same. Like, like it feels very obvious to me that they were created 100 years ago, and like maybe we could do better today. But I liked your answer, Scott. Yeah. Our other co-host is Thick. Thick, I have a question for you.
Hello. Yes.
List one overrated actor and one underrated actor / actress.
Overrated actor.
Mm-hmm.
He gets the best questions.
Oh, yeah, this seems like something. Yeah.
No, you're answering it.
Okay. Can Scott answer it afterwards?
Yeah, he can as well.
No,
Okay,
I'm good.
Okay. I mean, honestly, like a couple people come to mind. I can only think about overrated, to be honest.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like underrated, right now, I can't think. Overrated.
The same one.
I don't know. It's basically a lot of the Avenger bros. You know, talk about like I'm not gonna.
Robert Downey Jr.
No, I think he does a good job. He carried the Avengers. Like the other guys, they were just kind of like
they're there.
Like they're kind of like mostly visual.
Yeah, but we're not talking about Academy Award winning nominated, Best Picture of the Year movies, but
yeah.
Well,
Scott,
I guess
this is Thick's answer. This is Thick's answer. Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah.
You're right.
It's
a movie. I'm chomping at the bit. So go ahead.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of underrated. Okay, Scott, go ahead. I need to think this one.
Oh, overrated.
Overrated, underrated. Yeah.
There's so many. I think is overrated. I'm gonna have to say. I'm gonna have to say Brad Pitt.
Oh my gosh, Scott! I kid you not. I was
What?
literally gonna say that.
I mean, not that I don't like Brad Pitt. I mean,
Yeah,
he's fine, but as far as acting, I don't buy it. Like any character he is, and every time I said that, have you seen this movie? I'm like, yes, I have, and and it's still I don't buy whatever character he is. It's just I think he's overrated. I like him, but
real quick, let me say this. I feel like young Brad Pitt was a different story, but old Brad Pitt is like showing some weaknesses.
I think he just phones it in. I think he just shows up and do his thing, and he just plays Brad Pitt, and and you're good.
I like that. That was funny. All right. Your answers sufficed, I suppose, unless you can think of anyone else, Thick.
I almost don't want to say this is underrated, but I think at one point I felt like he was Robert Pattinson. Because have you seen the light?
Okay.
Yeah, have you seen the Lighthouse? Yeah, because like I feel like people were really downplaying him before. I didn't like the Batman that much, but I really liked him in the Lighthouse.
Okay. I saw the Lighthouse. I went to a movie theater. Is it just me, or are they playing sounds way louder in movie theaters now? Because I could not hear the dialogue in the Lighthouse anymore. I don't know if I'm just getting old or not.
Oh no, that may be your theater. I've gone to theaters and the dialogue was almost you just can't hear it over either the soundtrack or the special effect. I mean the sound effects. And then I saw it again in another theater and it sounded perfectly fine.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know if that may be a mixing thing or not.
Yeah.
But yeah. But I would agree with that too. I think he's actually on the flip side. I thought he was really good in Batman. I didn't really. I mean, I thought he was okay in whatever I saw him in. But after that, I thought he played that really well, and it's harder to do than you think.
Yeah,
true.
To play some stoic, orphan.
A handsome rich guy. It's tough.
Right.
It's tough for Robert Pattinson.
Yeah. Especially for Ben Affleck. It's
Yeah, exactly.
a big stretch, right?
Yeah.
Right. All right. Before we get started, I want to remind listeners they can drop us a comment, a question, or an insult at our The Supply Drop Podcast YouTube channel. Okay? We're looking forward to that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
All right, Scott, let's get into it. How was last week for you?
It was busy, not game related, but I did get a chance to play Atomic Heart. Have you guys tried this out yet?
No.
Not yet. I'm kind of waiting a little bit more.
Yeah, it's okay. It's probably got the worst protagonist that I've ever had to play in a really long time. This guy is
Worse than Forspoken.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
I didn't really have a problem with Forspoken. I think there was just a lot of dialogue.
Yeah.
It wasn't really that bad. It was just a lot of it. Okay, so replace that with just cringy, stupid dialogue constantly, and this is what you get. You have a glove, not an armband, that you talk to, and of course, he gives you exposition and stuff. And that's my dog barking. You probably hear it, but it's just constant. And some of the stuff, like there is actually a vending machine that tries to pick you up.
I've seen the vending machine.
I heard about that. Yeah.
And which is kind of silly, but his dialogue, it's just terrible. I wish there was an option to turn his voice off. That's all I'm saying. The game itself it's fun. It's pretty. I believe it's Unreal 5. Very sharp, clean. The combat's fun. But I don't know. It's not game of the year material.
So vending machine, solid dialogue, but protagonist, subpar dialogue.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the vending machine's like, okay, this is creepy, but it's just the reactions, the conversations between them are it's just terrible. It is just extremely terrible.
Scott, are you gonna reach the end of that game, or
I don't know. I'm having trouble with the dialogue between the main character and the glove. It's just so terrible. It's very bad. Okay. It's very bad. So I played a little bit of it with the sound off. I think I may be finishing it with the sound off.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's sad.
It's terrible.
I always think these games need to have sliders. Like, I always think of Alloy with Forbidden West. I'm like, just have her say 30% of the words that you would normally said.
Well, High on Life actually did.
Oh, really?
It actually had, you had, these weapons that you had would talk to you.
Oh, yeah.
And it did have sliders on the frequency of their conversations. But I put it like 100% because that dialogue was funny.
Entertaining, yeah.
Right, it was entertaining. This is, hopefully, maybe they'll put that in a patch. I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see.
Mm-hmm. All right, so was that your week, just Atomic Hearts?
Yeah, that, and I finished my season for Destiny 2.
Oh, yeah, you're getting ready for it, right?
Yeah. Stellar ending, by the way. I know you guys don't play it, but it was pretty good.
Was it on the
altering.
season or from the Witch Queen? I don't.
No, it was for the season and leading up to Lightfall, which comes out Tuesday the 28th.
Yeah.
Oh, so okay. It's they're the next big expansion that changes a lot.
Have you been following most of the story? Like I just keep glimpses of it.
I keep like a top level. Like I don't get deep into it, but I just kind of get enough to know what's going on.
Scott, what's the central premise? What's the main idea behind the story?
Throughout Destiny and Destiny 2, there is an AI called Rasputin. And before everything hit the fan, he was assigned to protect humankind. Basically, he was the AI in Terminator. I forget what the Skynet. Yeah. He was basically Skynet, but he was a good guy supposedly. And after a lot of these things happened, he kind of deteriorated. Well, throughout this story, throughout this many years of this game, you kind of piece him back together, so that at the end of the season, he's actually an entity that you can interact with, which is a first, because normally he just sounded like a robot or make these weird noises and stuff. But now that he became like a something that you could talk to and get feedback from, and then I won't give anything away, but then things, change and then there's a big finale at the end. There's a traveler that gives you your power, and he's just basically a space ball.
There's a wizard on the moon.
Yeah, exactly.
It is a moon.
he's like the wizard behind the the Oz. And there's not really anything about him. There's a huge story that goes behind that. I really can't get into it here, but something happens at the end that does change all of that. So going into this next expansion, things are going to be different, and Bungie has given a video, saying as such, and what they're going to be changing and going forward. Because I think that we're getting like a scraping of the old Destiny 2 and maybe going into a new Destiny, slowly. So.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. And I haven't been playing. If you play Destiny 2, you drop off one season because it's crap. You get back on another season because it's good. This last season was good. So going into the expansion, I'll probably get the expansion, and then I'll let you know if I hang in there after it comes out.
I might get the expansion too.
Yeah. We'll see what happens.
Scott, this week I decided to install Destiny. I think there was some kind of Destiny expansion that was free on PS Plus. So I'm like, I'll jump
Witch
back
Queen.
in.
Yeah.
Was it the Witch Queen? I thought it was
I think it was Light
something.
Beyond Light.
Beyond Light.
Oh, okay.
But I jumped into that. My first gun didn't do any damage to enemies, and then I switched to my second gun. It didn't do any damage to enemies, so then I uninstalled the game. That was my experience.
It's okay. When's the last time you played Destiny?
2014, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Anybody coming into this right now I don't envy them. There's no launch pad. There's an introduction, but there's no. Hey, this is what this game is about, and this is what this world is about, and there's none of all that's gone. They've completely gotten rid of that. So
every expansion they try to make it better, but it doesn't really happen.
Yeah, you kind of get like, oh look, they changed all this to make this better, but they got rid of all the stuff that's maybe fine. They've also said that they're ramping up the difficulty, which I think is a mistake, because this is one of those games that you want to feel like a superhero. I mean, it's a power trip. It's not. It's not a war zone. So.
Well,
I think Destiny's been pretty good about difficulty overall, though. Like the hard modes are pretty hard.
Yeah.
But they're satisfying once you beat them.
Yeah. We'll see.
Yeah. I guess that game's still kicking.
Yeah. It's still got a good player base.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to replicate it.
Yeah. All right, Thick, tell us about your week. Was it a great week? Was it a bad week?
It was decent. Not too much going earlier in the week, but once the weekend came, I got a fair amount of game time in. There was some internet issues like yesterday or the day before, and my Xbox was not having it, so I just went to my PS5 and started playing some games. I played a couple games. I'll probably mention them here, but I want to point out some annoyances I have with my PS5.
Okay.
Is that the battery life of the DualSense is just way too short. I know you play like wired, right, Nate?
Yeah, I play wired.
Yeah, it's just annoyingly short. And then
how short is it?
Like 3-4 hours sometimes.
Really?
Or it feels like it. Like
just
relative to the Xbox controller, it just way too quick. And I get it. It's got more bells and whistles in it, right?
Yeah.
Some annoying things is also the HDMI CEC. You guys know what that is? Where it kind of allows your remote control,
to control like your consoles and everything.
Yeah, and it causes like the HDMI to switch. So I have both the Xbox Series X and PS5 connected to, was it the LG something that I think I mentioned to you guys about?
You got the C2, didn't you?
C1.
C1. Okay, yeah.
So, whenever I just turn on my PS5 and put in rest mode, I want to go to my Xbox. When I turn on my Xbox, my PS5 turns on, and then all of a sudden it switches back to the PS5. So it's like really annoying.
Yeah.
I'm going to Twitter. PlayStation's taking over the CEC?
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh my god.
But yeah, aside from that, PS5 is fine. Yeah, it definitely is. But I kind of have my workaround, but it shouldn't be an issue, right? My Xbox doesn't have this issue, but it has other issues. Like I can't control the volume with the Xbox remote compared on this TV, and I know on another TV
That's
it
weird.
works fine. Yeah, so it's odd. It's partly a TV issue, maybe.
Maybe a firmware update.
Yeah. I was trying to see if there was one, but there hasn't been one.
Back in the day, you'd go to Best Buy and remember the Geek Squad would be like, we'll come to your home and we'll like get your remote controls all sorted out. And I'm like, oh, in 10 or 20 years, it's all going to be so simple and seamless. And yet here we are. It's just as bad as it ever was, right?
Oh man.
Yeah, more or less.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's see. The main game I kind of played. I want to say that I played Kinetica. I think I mentioned that game last week, the racing game.
You played that game?
I played that game. They have it on what's it? I guess it's a PS Classic, whatever. Yeah. And they had achievements. I was like, oh, okay, let's try to get an achievement. But that game, you know how like when you're playing a racing game, you want to pull the trigger like for most modern racing games. Right. This one, press A, right?
Oh no.
So then, to me, like when I think about that, I think I'm playing Mario Kart, right?
Mm-hmm.
What do the triggers do in that game?
Boost and I think use an item.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the interesting thing is that this is made by Santa Monica Studios. I didn't realize that.
Oh, wow. Really?
Yeah. I saw that logo, and maybe it's like maybe not the same company. I don't know, but
how
that's what it says at the beginning. It's probably 2002 or 1, something like that.
Wow. Okay.
It's like PS2 launch ish.
Yeah.
Fast speed racing, multiple paths. I honestly it doesn't give you much of a tutorial or anything, so you kind of just have to race and see what goes on. There's single races, there's no like career necessarily. It pretty much feels like I'm playing like a Mario Kart that doesn't have like a career mode.
Right.
I honestly could not tell how, to get ahead in the game. There was not a clear thing, except for maybe like these items. But,
you're a brave person for going into the early PS2 catalog.
Yeah.
It's a swampy.
Yeah, because I was talking about it earlier, right?
Yeah, right.
I said that it was one of the games I wanted to buy for PS2, but
And Thick, one more thing. So I don't know if Scott knows this. Scott, the cars in Kinetica are basically human robots with wheels on their feet and their hands. And the perspective that Thick, this is Thick, not me, because I wouldn't do this because it's 2023. You're behind the guy and the man or woman's legs are kind of like spread wide open. It's a very sensitive camera angle.
Not always. Sometimes they're together.
Oh, sometimes they're together. But
I don't even pay attention to that. To be honest, I don't even notice that.
Okay.
That sounds terrible. I'm looking it up right now.
Okay. All right. So is that your big game this week?
No, I actually played Godfall.
Ooh, what?
Why?
Because I had it downloaded, and like before I deleted it, I wanted to just see how it felt.
How bad it was.
Mm-hmm.
So the version that came free was like it's called like the Challenger Edition. So basically, you don't level up in it. All it is end game. You start with the level 50 character, which is an odd choice. I didn't go deep enough. Yeah, I didn't go deep enough into it, but I mean, the systems they seem to have had at this point, probably after some updates, seem fine. It's kind of like a God of War Light with RPG mechanics, with like heavier RPG mechanics.
Yeah, a little Destiny-ish, right? A little Destiny 2.
It tries to be a live service game, but like it's beautiful, definitely a beautiful game.
Yeah.
The combat felt fine, it felt sufficient, but like. If you put it in the context of a live service game, I see why people would not, or would trash it really.
Right.
And like it's a bit too repetitive, and the only means of moving forward is really just to get better gear. I think that's a problem with a lot of live service games, right? Like repetitive gameplay.
Yeah.
Lack of paths or choice to progress.
Yeah, I think we're going to talk about one in the news coming up too. It
Maybe.
seems to potentially suffer from the same issue.
Potentially,
Yeah.
I started the Wulong demo.
Okay.
I can't say too much on it because it's still very early, and plus the full game's releasing this week. I'll probably actually just play the full game.
Tell me one game that this most resembles. Wulong. Is it like a Dark Souls game? Is it
I think it's closer to Sekiro and Neo, is what a lot
more
of people
linear?
say.
Okay.
Yeah,
Or
I
linear.
would say the same.
Yeah.
What did you think of it though? I mean,
it just feels like a action game. It feels less like Dark Souls, where it's kind of like heavy and brooding, and it feels more like fast-paced combat. Yeah.
Ninja Gaiden or Devil May Cry?
Yeah.
Not quite to that point, but it's around that pacing, just like maybe one note below it.
Okay. Give us your score.
The Steam demo.
Okay.
Oh, you
Go
did?
ahead. Yeah. What did you think?
Yeah.
What was your score? What would you score the demo? Yeah.
What would you score it?
Score probably like an 80.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So
I think it's competent, but I mean it doesn't feel like it does much new.
It doesn't have a big hook. It doesn't have a big hook for you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
No, it didn't me at all. It just felt really generic. Plus, if you play it on PC, all of the indicators at the bottom telling you what does what, they're all PlayStation buttons. So
really?
unless you have a PlayStation controller connected to your PC, you're having to push every button to figure out what back is or attack or this or that.
Interesting.
Yeah, kind of an odd choice for a PC title. Plus, it didn't perform very well and it didn't look very good. So I'm guessing on the PC side, we're going to get another crappy port.
Oh.
I don't think it looked that great to begin with. It just kind of looks.
Maybe it's a decent port then.
Yeah.
It just doesn't look good.
And this is not that Monkey King game, right?
No.
No, it's not Black Wukong.
Okay. I get those confused a lot. All right. So some rough titles this week, Thick.
More or less. Wulong, I think I'll keep it at an 80.
Okay.
Not always for me, but I think it's a game that if people like it, they'll like it. Yeah.
I know the sooner we can assign a Metascore to game, the better. I feel like it might be worth assigning scores to games just based on their trailer. Like we have a Justice League game coming up. I'm going to assign a Metascore to it.
Okay.
I hope you guys do that as well.
I see the screenshot, Scott.
I've got a score.
All right.
Did you see that? Yeah, I put a.
You found the best screenshot for this.
I did. I put it in the Discord. Yeah.
Okay.
Shame on you.
All right. Let me jump into my week real quick, and then we'll get to the news. How's that?
Okay.
All right.
All right, guys. So I've classified you and Scott and Thick in two different categories. Thick is more of he is more of an appreciator of all games. He'll go into different areas. Mm-hmm. Scott, I feel he's more like my brother in terms of we like a lot of the similar types of games. Mm-hmm. Scott, on numerous times on this podcast, has said, "Stay away from Far Cry 6. It's no good, right?" Mm-hmm. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, I like the Ghost Recon well enough. Like it's a hamburger, meatball, potato chips kind of game.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I can't. So they've made 9 Far Cry games. This is the last entry. Like Ubisoft, this is a giant global publisher, a ton of experience, and this is the best they can come up with based on their prior experience. So Scott, I've played it 3 times, right? The first time I'm like, why didn't I listen to Scott? Scott was right. Like I'll never disobey Scott ever again. But the second time I played it, I kind of like got past that horrible like intro, and I'm like, okay, it's kind of fun rating these outposts. It's kind of cool, right? So I rated, between 5 and 10 outposts, where I'm like, okay, it's cool. So I'm gonna play it a third time. The third time, all these outposts are exactly the same. Mm-hmm. It's a nightmare. There's like 200 outposts on the map, and they're all like identical.
Yes, absolutely.
So it's just,
that's a Far Cry game.
It's just shocking to me that like clearly they have people who are like, all right, you people are gonna design our outposts. You're gonna make it fun for the player to kind of like drop in here and like, right? I mean, they have to.
They would, yeah. And
I think Far Cry 5 did a better job with that.
Yeah, it did. I was going to say that. And Far Cry 5 and 4 have, different biomes. You go up in the mountains and kind of a desert thing. And this one, no,
it's just one big jungle.
It's just all jungle. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
I also think the story is funny because it seems like the main characters are just constantly witnessing war crimes during the game. It gets pretty dark, and then right after the war crime happens,
they're like party.
They quit. They do a joke. They do a real quick quip and like, yeah, let's go party. So it's just odd. Ubisoft.
It just misses the beat every single time. And if you play longer, you get introduced to a new character like every 30 seconds.
Oh, and I agree with you. They do that, yeah. Which I kind of like that.
Well, I like that up to a point. I mean, that's what you like about some of the stories. If you have interesting characters, and it's it makes for an interesting story. But if you walk into a room and there's 20 of them and you got to hear every one of their backstories, it gets. And then there's so many characters that they introduce. When they go back to one that you met previously, I'm like, what's your name again?
Like 15 hours ago, 10 hours ago. Yeah,
exactly. There's not enough time to invest in each one. They just keep throwing them at you,
Right.
So I never finished it.
I would say the thing I like about 6 is I like the combat and the systems, but I think the content is worse.
Content is worse.
Yeah.
Yeah. I felt like the game played pretty good. The concept I love when people talk about gun feel or that feel like I'm not.
I was gonna say that for Destiny, it has really good gun feel.
It right.
Well, this is the first Far Cry on console that's 60 FPS, right?
Oh, is it?
I think so.
I believe so. So that helps. I mean, that makes that gunplay feel a lot better.
Right. Yeah.
No, one thing I do notice about Far Cry 6 is the antagonist is not in first person. Like all the cutscenes are third person for him.
Is that new? Is that new for the franchise?
I think that was because the mocap to him was like lackluster. I feel like that was due to COVID situation, right? Like they can't have him in the studio. They don't. Yeah, that's what it felt like.
I think they also used up most of their budget for him as well.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
No, that's the Breaking Bad. What was that character's name in Breaking Bad? Gus.
Yeah.
Gus, everyone just calls him Gus. He actually doesn't like that necessarily.
Oh, really?
His real name, right? Oh man, and I don't even remember his real name right now. Right? I don't want to mispronounce it.
Espinito or I know I always forget it. Esposito, yeah.
It's interesting watching him in interviews because he doesn't act like Gus in interviews.
Yeah.
Oh, he's really laid back. Yeah, he's super. And also Lance Reddick from Destiny and
Horizon,
Fringe, and he is super laid back. He's not at all. He doesn't even sound like himself when he's like, "Hey, how's it going? How you doing?" And you're like,
"That's right.
Who are you?" Yeah. So good actor.
Yeah.
Underrated. Believable characters. That's If I walked up to him, I would think he would be like, "Hello, what are you doing?" But no, he's not. He's like super laid back. That's
apparently
cool. I like that.
He's kind of a gamer nerd too, right?
He is. He plays a lot of Destiny.
Right. Right. All right. So I guess that's it for me. I'll wrap it up saying this: with how bad Far Cry 6 is, I'm basically there day one for Far Cry 7 just because I love the concept of it, right? Like it's got the 4 ingredients that I like. It's just all the ingredients are terrible, for the most part.
Yeah, it's almost like they've got to get this one right, or it's got to be better than the last one. It's got to be better than the last one. You kind of just keep buying into it, but I don't know.
I do know Ubi's supposed to have a big year next year, right? So hopefully, it's good.
Yeah. This will be we haven't heard anything about the new Far Cry, have we?
No, but I'm pretty sure we only had rumors that it's in production, right? I think that's what we had. And another
we knew that.
project,
I mean,
right?
we could have guessed that.
Yeah.
And there's the Far Cry 7 and then there's that Tarkov Far Cry, right?
Yeah.
So I think they have 2 Far Cry.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah.
All right, guys, we gotta end this and we gotta get to the drop, the segment of our podcast where we talk about last week's most intriguing news stories. Scott, what was the most intriguing news story for you this week?
Well, this one kind of fizzled out on me, but it was big news. Baldur's Gate 3 got a release date of August 31st. Yeah, and they had a big reveal trailer. And if you're a fan of Baldur's Gate like I am, the trailer looks amazing. But at the end of the trailer, it says, August 31st release for PC and PS5. and that's it.
Mhm.
So nothing. It's obviously not coming on the Switch day one, and nothing about Xbox. So there's a lot of Xbox fans that were disappointed, and
They thought
reaching
they were
out.
exclusive.
Yeah, and of course
Yeah.
they thought that Sony had scooped in once again and given them a ton of money to not go to Xbox.
Yeah, and we don't blame them because that's pretty common right now.
Well, that's how you do. Yeah, that's how you run a business. Microsoft, like they don't know how to run a business, but Larian Studios actually have a response to it, and basically what I'll read it. It's really short, but they said, Xbox players, we've seen your questions about when you can expect Baldur's Gate 3 on Xbox. We've had an Xbox version of Baldur's Gate 3 in the works for some time, but we have run into some technical issues. This is really weird. Nobody ever says this, particularly with split screen co-op. We are still working on an Xbox version of BG3, but we're not yet confident enough to announce it. We don't like announcing anything until we're ready, because we don't want to get people's hopes up until we are sure we can deliver. That sounds strange. There's no platform exclusivity preventing us from releasing Baldur's Gate 3 on Xbox day and date. Should that be a technical possibility? If and when we do announce further platforms, we want to make sure each version's lives lives up to our standards and expectations. I think you can take this two ways. One is it's absolutely true. They're just having some issues with it, and they'll let us know when they can do that. Or this is some kind of exclusivity, or maybe it's a way of them trying to get more money from Microsoft. I don't know. It just sounds weird. It's just no studio does this. No studio comes out and says, hey, we're having technical issues making this game on this platform. So, and this is where we're not yet confident enough to announce it. We don't like announcing anything until we're ready.
Scott,
so what do
you
guys think?
No, we got the button for this. The raise your hand button.
Okay.
Thick, you go first. First.
Okay. So there's a lot of talk about this, and the people are saying it's the Series S's fault.
Yeah, but the developers aren't saying that. That's not.
They aren't saying. They're not going to say that.
They're saying vaguely. They're saying vaguely.
Yeah.
Right.
It seems like it's implications. Who knows, to be honest? But that's what a lot of people are saying online.
Yeah.
Well, of course. I mean, that's what they're going to say. They think it's the lowest common denominator. However, if you look at they did release the specs for the PC, and the minimum requirements are way below what a Series S is. So I don't.
It doesn't
typically
hold
think
up.
that's
I agree.
Those don't match up. But it's just odd to release that, and I'm not trying to, implicate anything or start a rumor that's not there, but
I am.
Okay, well, what's your rumor?
All
what
right.
do you think?
So we saw 343 Industries work on Halo split screen co-op for 7 years. They couldn't They couldn't do it, right? Now we have another developer saying we can't do split screen on this thing. So for all the teraflops the Series X has, they didn't add the split screen teraflops. That's basically what they forgot to do.
Yeah, they forgot the split screen's core on the processor.
Is that what it was? They didn't put the chip in. It's got to go back to the manufacturing.
It's all very easy for me to understand this. Yeah.
Yeah, I see that. You're probably right. Yeah. I mean, they're gonna just find a workaround. Their previous title, which just escaped me.
Right?
Divinity 2, thank you. Was split screen and had no technical issues whatsoever. Baldur's Gate 3 is a graphical leap from that, at least on PC. But you can play it now on PC in early access. But yeah, I don't know what this actually means. I guess
I have a question.
Yeah.
So Baldur's Gate 3, this is like going to be 100-hour RPG, right?
Easy. Yeah.
This is a meaty RPG. And when I hear like split screen co-op, I'm like, what are the odds that you're going to have two friends who are like at the same part in the game?
I think this has a very dedicated multiplayer, but maybe you're right. Probably not split screen, but like online.
Okay.
Yeah, online. Yeah, exactly. You have
I guess I just can't envision what co-op looks like if like I'm at this part of the story and you're at this different part of the story. Then like
it breaks away. The screen is split, but you don't have to be right. You're not on the same screen. That's what.
Yeah.
Like what is it? Any top down,
right.
like Diablo or something like that. You're kind of like fighting over the screen, but this actually tears away and splits it, and you can go in different directions. But yeah, Nate, I kind of feel that same way too. I was like, this is 2023. Who is playing split screen?
Right.
I don't know. I'm sure there's people that are. I mean, there's a lot of people upset about Halo Infinite, but I'm kind of with you. I'm like, there's nobody, I don't call my buddies and go, hey, let's, we're playing Halo this weekend on my 32-inch TV. I mean, what,
right.
It just doesn't seem like a feature that has to be there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I don't know, maybe for them, maybe it's just a studio thing.
Yeah. I guess I mess up. I'm not phrasing it right, but I'm like, if let's say I put 10 hours into Baldur's Gate 3, Scott, you put 30 hours into Baldur's Gate 3, and I go join your game. Like, am I just going to be under-leveled and like get tossed around for our play session?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how that works.
Okay,
I think it's the same. You use the same file, right? Like you just control another character, or
maybe that's
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe. I mean, you've got a party with you very early on in the game.
Right.
So I guess that wouldn't be very much fun for the other person, though. I mean,
yeah. Because you'd want to see progress in your own game. Right?
Exactly. I mean, it's an RPG. I mean, you want to level up and be in your own little thing. So
yeah. That being said, if you're like, I could see some nerdy couples out there being like, "Hey, do you want to like play 100 hours like on the couch together?" That could be cool. But I don't know how many of those couples exist.
Well, I mean, my wife and I played all the Gears of War movies. I mean, good Gears of War games on split screen. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Right. That's cool. But that's not a 100-hour RPG.
No, not at all.
No.
Yeah. I can't see doing that.
Very good, Scott. Scott, was that your big story this week?
That was a big story. It could have been bigger had they not had that come out, because that just would have been up for speculation. But it does clear it up a little bit. But it's something that, of course, we're going to keep our eyes on and see what goes on with that. It looks like we are not getting an Xbox version on August 31st. To sum it up. Yeah.
Yeah. Plenty to play on Game Pass though, so I think
sure.
Gamers can wait another 3 to 6 months for that to show up, right?
Unless it came out a month later on Game Pass. That would be a kicker. Yeah, but probably not.
Yeah. All right, Thick. What's your big news story this week, or multiple news stories?
Well, the big news is it has to do with the ABK deal, or at least all the agreements they just kind of made earlier this week.
Yeah.
What do you mean when you say these words? What do you mean?
Well, okay, so Xbox entered into a 10-year binding agreement with Nintendo to bring Call of Duty to their platform with content and feature parity.
Wow.
So, what is it? It's not clear whether it's native or cloud, but I feel like in order to really bring what they currently have, like the Switch is not going to support it. Could it be a Switch 2 maybe?
Not at all. Yeah, see, that's what I was thinking. If it's a 10-year deal, we're not going to be playing a Switch 10 years from now, right?
Yeah.
It's going to be something else. Switch 2 or something else.
That being said, once the Switch 2 rolls around, then you're going to wait another 4 years for these, PS 6 and Xbox Series Z or whatever, right? So it's just we are going to get another leapfrog, right?
Yeah, more or less.
But then 10 years, absolutely, yeah.
Right. So I do know, didn't Call of Duty come on the Wii U?
Yes. So there's a couple of well, not the Wii
and GameCube.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the GameCube ones.
Okay.
On the Wii, they had Modern Warfare. They had World at War. Those were two very popular ones.
Okay.
And then they had Ghost on Wii U.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And apparently that one didn't do so well because I think that was the last one on a Nintendo console, right?
It is, but they probably at a certain point it just wasn't feasible to make a version for Nintendo. Because I think
the Wii U was like the Dreamcast in terms of install base, right?
Yeah, or even less.
Yeah, probably less.
Yeah.
But on the Switch, it just I don't know if Activision was really interested in making a version on the Switch.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Even though they have a Call of Duty mobile, but well, let's be honest. I mean, if you've got a new phone, it's more powerful than a Switch right now. Yeah. So is this an
indication? It's going to be cloud, but then would you want to play Call of Duty on cloud?
I mean, if it's multiplayer, I don't think so. I really don't. I think that I think that Microsoft went to Nintendo and made this deal after they showed them what the next version of whatever they're making is.
Yeah.
And that said, yes, absolutely, we can run Call of Duty on this. And we don't know. Of course, we don't know what it is, but I don't think it's going to be a handheld.
Okay.
We'll see on that. There's a couple more news regarding the dealings, and it's the one where they've also entered into a partnership with NVIDIA with GeForce Now to bring all Xbox and Call of Duty games to their platform once the agreement goes through. So basically, competing cloud platform with their games.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you think Microsoft is doing here? Do you think Microsoft had this idea in their head 2 years ago? Or do you think they're sweating it? Are they sweating it a little bit?
I think they're trying to butter it up as much as they can, right?
Yeah.
Because they also mentioned they had an envelope ready for Sony to sign to just, go with that 10-year deal that they had talked about, in last year. So
don't insult Jim Ryan. Don't insult him with that envelope. I'm saying Microsoft, not fixed.
Oh, don't take it. Yeah, just don't take. Then you won't have Call of Duty. I mean,
it's got a Smash Brothers logo on it.
Yeah. Just remake, The Last of Us 2, 3 times.
Right.
So
yeah.
Part 1.2.
But 1.2 and 2.5 or whatever. Yeah. They're absolutely trying to butter up. They're trying to show that they are going to do what they say they're doing on paper to the FTC and Europe and everything. They're trying to lay that foundation of, hey, this is what we plan to do and this is what we're going to do. Because apparently a lot of companies will go to the FTC and go, oh, this is what we're doing, and then they don't do that.
Okay.
Big surprise.
Right.
So might be what they're used to. I don't know.
All right. So it essentially, this is the Death Star in Star Wars, kind of telling the people of Alderaan, like, we have this gun pointed at you, but like, it's not what you think it is.
We're gonna run with this.
What are you saying, Nate?
Yeah, I have to.
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah.
Well, one thing was they shared an interesting statistics, and this could be all a little bit romanticized because they're playing the victim, right? Microsoft is, but they shared the global market share or just market share in general.
Oh yeah, this was good. Yeah.
Yeah, 70% to 30. PlayStation 70% global, 80% in PlayStation market share in Europe, and 96% in Japan. This is all the market share of Sony right now.
Okay, this is insane what they're saying, right? This is like the most like clearly they're lying, right?
I don't see how. I mean,
they're not including Nintendo. Nintendo is not included in this.
Yeah, which is kind of stupid because I guess if you do the math, then it's like if you're looking at a pie chart, that's 100%, and there's a big slice there that's missing.
Yeah.
So, but we know that like the Series X consoles plus the PC division of Microsoft, like that's clearly closer to PlayStation's install base than what those numbers suggest, right?
Well, does it? That's where it gets kind of muddy because when you're talking about Xbox, up until a couple of years ago, it didn't really include PC at all.
Yeah.
Right. But now it very much does.
Now
I don't think these numbers included.
I don't think so. Right. It's not. It's probably console, install base.
Right.
Is what they're looking at as far as those numbers. So.
Yeah. When I saw this, I'm like, really what it should be called is How to Lie with Statistics 101. Like this is just such like.
Yeah, you can always,
how can we
make the numbers look better and
Right. So I don't know. I mean, this just another reason why we cannot trust, Microsoft here, right? People.
But we can trust Sony.
Oh, definitely.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, trust us. $70 games.
Yeah.
Whatever. Sure. Yeah.
Well, was there anything else in that deal that was noteworthy this week, Vic?
I don't think so. I think they're still looking to close it like by the first half of this year. So who knows?
Okay. You guys think that's going to happen?
I think something's going to happen before June.
I want something to happen so we could just stop talking about it.
I know.
Yeah, I just want it to be over. At this point, after after seeing how Microsoft was so hands off about 343 Industries, and until they weren't, I'm not sure if I want them handling the biggest franchise out there. But again, I mean, Activision does a fine job of Call of Duty because they have every studio that they own working on it.
Right.
Toys for Bob. Yeah, they'll continue to do that. But it's what I fear is that if Microsoft does not get them, then when the dust settles, two things can happen. One, PlayStation doesn't get anything from Activision. They've already made them mad. They've already stated that, once this Call of Duty contract ends, we're not doing another one with Sony. So
that's next year.
That's next year. It's possible that, they're going to get the least common denominator version of Call of Duty, going forward. However, that is if Activision, survives this and is not scooped up by
Embracer
Google
Group.
or worse, right? And what about Amazon? What about AT&T? All of these companies are wanting to buy studios. They're wanting to buy publishers. Yeah. Can you imagine if AT&T bought Activision and how that would end up? I don't want that. I would much rather Microsoft buy them. They're a gaming company. They know what to do with them, to some extent. So the people that don't want this to happen, it may not go well for them if you're on PlayStation or Nintendo. It may be worse.
I do want to say one thing. The idea that Activision is mad at Sony, therefore we're gonna tell our shareholders we're not talking to Sony, we're not gonna deal with them. That seems a little far fetched to me.
No. I don't mean that they're not gonna put Call of Duty on PlayStation. Okay. I just know those exclusive deals that they get are gone. They're not even on the table. They're going to someone else, or they're just not doing them at all. They're going to get, like I said, the lowest common denominator version of that game, much like Xbox gets right now.
Okay. All right. That's more reasonable.
Right.
More reasonable. Vic, did you buy everything Scott was saying?
Yeah, more or less.
More or less. Okay.
Bobby Kotick's mad.
I guess I look at this deal and I'm like, all these big tech companies they're getting massive, right? And I'm like, I think this industry is such a growth industry. I think video games in 20 years is going to be way bigger than it is now. And I'm like, this is my entire thesis. I don't want one of the biggest companies in the world to get even bigger than they already are, right?
I don't blame you there, but
right. I think Activision is I don't know if I read this or I'm making this up. It's 60% of some kind of price of PlayStation, which to me that's that's a huge purchase. That's a huge shift in the industry, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Could Sony buy Activision?
I don't think they can.
I have no idea. I just know Sony to me isn't the big threat that Microsoft or Google or you know what I mean? Sony just seems on a tier or two lower than these giant companies, right?
Yeah, in terms of Microsoft, you're right about that.
Yeah. Well, Sony's been doing it longer. Sony has the market share.
Yeah.
I think that I have nothing against Sony. I mean, I just think that some of the decisions that they have made recently are not consumer friendly. Whereas Microsoft, a lot of the decisions they make are based on the consumer. And it's the one thing that a lot of companies don't get. Give your customers what they want, give them a reasonable price, and they'll buy more. It's that simple.
Yeah.
Right.
Let me push against you a little bit. So when I think I told you guys this one time, but I'm gonna reiterate it. When Fortnite first launched back in the summer of 2017, PUBG was at its zenith. It was like close to its zenith, and Fortnite was the little up and coming game / studio.
Right, kind of popped up out of nowhere.
Epic did everything they could to like appeal to the fans. Like they were constantly on their Reddit. They're super communicative. They were they were like the good guys, and like the PUBG monster was whatever. Then as that game got bigger and bigger and bigger, then you saw them become a little like more standoffish, right? So I feel like Microsoft is like, we want the video game market, so we're gonna play nice right now. Once we get the video game market, we're going to. I mean, it's just like this is how business works. Like once you have a certain percentage of the market,
you live long enough to become the villain.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
And Sony kind of did that, with coming out of the PS3, when they released the PS4.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, well, this is exactly what everybody wanted. It's a set-top box that plays games better than everything else. Mm-hmm. And all the exclusive games are going to that platform. That's all you had to do. And it was cheaper.
Yeah.
But again, that kind of just flip-flops, it seems, with every iteration.
Yeah, it's like
Microsoft
they push a little bit harder, and then they have to go back.
Right.
Yeah.
And they were like, we're Sony again. You don't like that price, well, then get another job.
Right.
Personally, I don't like that mentality. I would like to see Sony flourish in just a little bit better consumer-friendly way. One of those would be putting, their first-party games on PC day one, and it may get to that at some point. But I think that's something that, and maybe a version for PSVR 2 for PC.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. I have no problems criticizing on PlayStation. No problems with that.
Yeah. And I'm not dedicated to any one platform. I'm on PC. I can play all of them.
Yeah.
So
Very true.
Yeah.
Very true. All right. So Thick, was that your big drop this week?
Yeah, but we have more things about Sony, right?
Yes, we do.
Yeah, we do.
So I have two news stories this week. One is a mini one, and then one is not the PSVR, but the state of play that just happened, right? So let me jump into my little one real quick.
A little surprise drop.
I think you guys can handle it, okay?
Yeah.
So early access title Sons of the Forest, which was developed by Night Games, and I tried to look up their employee size. I think it's between 15 and 25 employees.
Really?
Officially sold 2 million copies of Sons of the Forest.
And Crash Steam.
Wow, congratulations.
Crash Steam had a crazy high concurrent player count in its first 24 hours, right? They reached that number in the first 24 hours.
Yeah.
All I want to say is AAA studios, are you paying attention?
Right, exactly.
Right? What are they doing with, we're going to talk about a big AAA studio coming up pretty soon. But I just feel like this is a genre that just is so ready to go like big time, right?
Yeah.
That's basically it. Any thoughts, Thick? Any thoughts with that? This is obviously the genre I'm talking about is clearly the survival genre, right?
It's survival horror-ish, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
More survival than horror.
Right.
I don't know.
Okay.
We should call that something different, because survival horror is more like Resident Evil, right? Isn't that what that's called?
Yeah, that's true. It's because it's a very creepy
horror
game. The Forest games are kind of.
Yeah, I played the first one, and it was super creepy.
Scott, are you going to be checking this one out eventually?
I just recently re-downloaded The Forest, probably like anybody else that bought it years ago.
Yeah.
I'm going to play a little bit of that and see if that might be something I don't want to get into. But
particularly fancy,
yeah, I'm with you. I mean, even if it's not a game that I like, I love to see a very small studio reach that type of success.
Right.
Yeah. And then become the villain.
And then become the villain, right?
Right. And then it's Sons of the Forest store, and here's all the stuff you can buy, and so
the Forest Pass.
Right. Yeah. So let's hope that doesn't happen. But no, you're right. Right. The AAA studios need to, stop making games where you go to a tower and open up more map.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yep. All right, let's get into the big news story of last week, which was obviously PlayStation's small scale state of play. Apparently, I'm just gonna read down kind of like the rumor section. Just kind of go quick through this.
Can we rate it real quick?
Yeah, let's do a Metascore. Let's do a Metascore on this one.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 78.
78. Oh, you're gonna give a score, not a letter grade.
No, right now
Metacritic.
the theme is the Metascore. Yeah, we're trying to get sponsored by them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. 79.
Oh, 1-0. And Scott, what about you?
Oh, that's what. Yeah, I was thinking 75. Yeah.
Okay. It did help that I feel like that word got out that this was the small scale skate play, right?
Yeah.
So people didn't have huge expectations. But let me run down what actually happened there, okay? And then you guys jump in. You stop me when something piques your interest, okay? Right off the bat, there was 5 PSVR titles that got shown off. They all looked exactly the same to me.
They did. Yeah.
Yeah. It just looked like I was washed over with the generic-looking VR titles. Thick. What does that face say?
No, it says nothing.
Nothing?
Just keep going.
All right. Destiny 2 had Lightfall got a launch trailer. More Destiny. A poor man's Breath of the Wild called Tachia got a new release date trailer.
Oh, don't bash this game like that. I think it's.
You think there's something to this?
I think
it's a trailer.
It's a small studio, so
it
is
a small studio. You're right.
And I think it's from what do you call it? From a country forget who the exact. They developed this we're developing it for Stadia, but they got scooped up by Sony. Good for them.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, it seems like it was made with heart. So
yeah, you're right. I do know, like I tell you this constantly. I'm like I don't care about IP. I don't really care about art direction. I want to like I'm a mechanics guy or a game design guy. This is like the exception. This is where they veered a little too close to like it looks like a Dora the Explorer, the game, doesn't it?
I think the visuals might be off-putting for some, yeah.
For some, yeah. But it does look like there might be some interesting game design mechanics here, right?
I think I'm more interested in playing this than I was Stray.
Oh, okay, really? Yeah. No, I'd be interested to hear what people actually think about that when it finally comes out. The creator of the Tetris Effect showed off a more of humanity, which seems to be an artistic crowd control game. What do you guys think of this?
Weird.
Pikmin.
Yeah, a little bit,
very, very little, but yeah.
Yeah.
I like these abstract games, but I probably won't play them for a while.
Right, a little puzzly, right? A little puzzle-esque. Yeah. Probably the game of the show is Goodbye Volcano High got a new trailer. That seems to be like an anime-esque music, story-based dating sim, dinosaurs with lipstick on type of game. Right.
Game of the year.
This is the you could not pay me money to play this.
Right. Yeah, that's actually another game where I'm like, the art style just kind of ruins it for me. But Thick, what is this? Naruto cross Boruto? What is Boruto?
Boruto is Naruto's son.
So is it like is Boruto have his own show?
Yes, he does have his own show.
Okay.
It's actually like over 100 episodes now. I don't really. I tried watching because I like the original Naruto, right?
Yeah.
But I read it because the show just kept being around the bush.
Uh-huh.
So, but yeah, it's just more Naruto universe stuff.
Okay. It does seem like these anime type games are bubbling up more and more. I feel like 10 years ago you didn't really see them, but now they're being featured.
I think it's because the graphics is kind of like reached to the same level.
Okay.
So you can kind of showcase like anime style games a little bit better.
Right. Thick, is anime as a whole, is it becoming more popular over the last?
I'd say so.
You do think so?
It's becoming a little bit more mainstream, especially things like people making Cyberpunk.
Right.
What is it? I think there's a couple other franchises, but yeah, I think it's becoming more mainstream. They actually like there's more people working on it. Like they outsource a lot of people because like they need a lot of help with it. Like it's booming so big. So,
oh, really?
Yeah.
You think that might be due to the like the Netflix series of like Castlevania and
a little bit of that.
Right.
But like Sony also bought Crunchyroll, so like it seems like
really
people are investing on it. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
That's a monopoly.
We should, FTC.
Yeah. All right. We already talked about this one, but Baldur's Gate 3 is coming to PS5 on August 31st. We already went
exclusively.
Well, I
Right.
guess so.
For now. Yeah, we'll see.
The next game was a little disappointing for me. Wayfinder, the new game from Airship Syndicate, who made Darksiders, had a new trailer. To me,
Yeah.
it looked generic as heck.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I did not mind. I'll
You
play
did not
it.
mind it?
Really?
I'm not gonna buy it, but I'll play it.
Yeah.
Are you not getting tired of this Overwatch, Fortnite kind of
Not really.
aesthetic? And
The aesthetic does not bother me.
Yeah.
I care more if it feels good to play. Now, if it doesn't feel good to play, then I'll know.
This looks like free to play trash to me.
Yeah. I do know. So I'm with Thick. I don't really care that much about the art style, but they kind of showed off a lot of their gameplay, some gameplay snippets, and it didn't look all that enticing to me. Right? It kind of looked like Godfall, like a cartoony Godfall. Right?
Maybe.
Potentially. And
You never know though. I mean, I mean, it could be.
Yeah.
You could say the same thing about Remnant. You look at it and it looks generic.
It looks boring. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. All right, Street Fighter 6 had a 3-character trailer: Zangief, Lily, and Cammy. I don't think any of us are Street Fighter fans. Is that true?
No,
Not for
not really.
a long time. Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
Right.
but it looks good. Like the way the game looks and feels. It looks pretty good.
So
I
you're
think it
down
looks
with
great.
Yeah.
It looks amazing.
I know, like, if I were to play Street Fighter, I would get used to that art style real quick. But to me, it looks a little like everything looks a little too warped in it. Like the proportions of the characters are just like,
That's probably by design. Yeah.
Resident Evil 4 got a remake, a new trailer. I'm so over remakes. This didn't pique my interest. Did it pique either of yours?
Did you like the original? I don't know.
I played about halfway of the original. I thought it was good, but then I bounced off after.
Yeah, I kind of did the same. I did it on the GameCube.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, I did. The GameCube had 2 discs, so I played through the first disc.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. As soon as I see this, I instantly fall asleep for about 2.5 minutes, and then I try to wake up. But the next story is the meat of the show. So, and what I'm referring to is obviously Suicide Squad Killed the Justice League got a major feature in this showcase.
Mhm.
Real quick, let's give Metascores to this game. Scott, what's your Metascore to this game?
58.
Oh, 58, thick.
I'd probably give it a little bit higher, like 75.
Yeah, I'll go with 75 as well. But the internet is not happy about this. The internet
the internet is fatigued by live service. I think the narrative that live service is dead is kind of driven its way home to a lot of people.
Yeah, people are over it.
Yeah.
I guess did we think, like, first of all, that game looked like Crackdown. It just, the characters were constantly in the air, right? They're constantly in the air.
Everything looks very bullet spongy.
Right.
Yeah, it's just I don't know.
And I when I'm watching, I'm like, oh, it kind of has like a Fortnite vibe to it too, like a Fortnite. What are those short little, like, like, oh, try this mode out for a month. What do they call those? I don't know what they call those because
limited time modes.
Yeah, limited time modes, right? Where I'm just
like a Suicide Squad crossover Fortnite, for
exactly.
a week kind of thing. Yeah.
And I told you guys this a long time ago, but I felt like, I don't like co-op games that are just like everyone's in the same room and we're all just shooting stuff at the same time.
Yeah.
This game was that to a T, right?
Seems like it,
that's exactly what it looks like.
Yeah.
It looks like a looter shooter.
Right.
It is a looter shooter. I mean, they did everything but say that.
They avoided that. They avoided.
You have a gear score. You have rare loot. You have. Yeah. It is everything that nobody wanted from a Suicide Squad game, unfortunately.
Right.
But it was kind of expected, right? I think I said the same thing. Like, Suicide Squad did not look any different from
from the studio, though. I think it's kind of a surprise.
Right.
Seeing as the previous titles that they made, the Arkham series, were excellent. I mean, they were fantastic. Right. It brought the superhero subgenre back to video gaming. And this looks like to me that Gotham Knights, we all know that it was going to be a looter shooter, right? It's going to be a service game. I think that at this point, maybe this game was not originally, but they decided to make it one. So then, the publisher went, okay, well,
That
we can't
that
have
actually
two.
sounds.
We can't
was
have
it-
two, service games in the same universe. So Gotham Knights, we're just going to make a co-op game,
Oh.
and reversed it. I see a line there. I'm just drawing a line between these two games, and I'm thinking that maybe those kind of canceled each other out in some kind of way. But yeah, this didn't look good to me at all.
Okay, so for the very first trailer and the reveal to this, did you think it was going to be Arkham? Because I did not feel like I saw.
No, I didn't think it was going to be an Arkham game, but I was excited how they were going to do. I thought it was just going to be on a co-op,
Right.
Arkham game with these characters and more of a, tongue-in-cheek sense of humor, as opposed to, the brooding, Dark Knight and everything. And I think that's a lot of people just assume that that's what the format was going to be. And that to me was exciting.
I feel like you could still treat it as just a co-op game, because I feel.
But it just looks, you're jumping around in the sky and shooting like these balls on a tank, probably like 6 million times to take it out, and
it looks like a nightmare. It looks like a nightmare.
It does. Watch the trailer again.
No, I saw it. I saw it a couple times actually. But like I'm fine with what if I don't view this as, I'm not going to play it as a live service. I'm not going to treat it as a live service. I feel like this is just a game that I could just play. And if it really depends on the content, right? Like if there's like good enough story to it, and I could just complete a story, then I'm fine with it. I'm not going to pay $70 for this. I'll probably just wait for a deal or whatever. But like I feel like every live service game that tries to do it doesn't need to be treated like one. So I just I'm not treating this like a live service game.
Well, okay, and I think that that's admirable. And you may be able to do that, and I hope you can do that. But I feel like if it's a live service game, it's got a store, and it's going to have microtransactions. It's going to have all this stuff. It's going to be grindy. It's going to be, you're going to have to go kill 60 of these kind of enemies. You're going to have to go do this mission 50 times. You're going to have to go you can't escape that. You can't play that as a single player story driven game if that is the content that they're giving you. So that is going to determine whether this game is enjoyable on a, just a single player or a 2-player, format, right? I mean, that's a live service game. It's going to be grindy.
Let me say this. I feel like what people were envisioning was maybe like, okay, those Arkham games were kind of revered, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I felt like, if people are like, okay, they're going to make a 4-player co-op game, maybe it's going to be like Redfall a little bit, like everyone's on the ground and you're kind of sneaking around. I feel like, a Redfall, a small open world, that could be intriguing. But this was just like the most, games as a service, like, it kind of looked like Anthem a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I think also people who like that IP, like the Batman IP, DC players, I feel like they're like single player types, right? Like we want this story.
Yeah.
We don't want this games as a service type.
Well, even Thick wants that. I mean, he wants to play this as a single player game. Right. I hope you can, because I mean, if you can, then I'm in.
Right. And also the thing about single player is it is online required right now.
Oh, it is.
And you can tell it's made focused on co-op because they're including bots with your single player.
Like, I think you'll be picking a character, and then the other 3 will be controlled by AI.
Yeah.
And maybe, I guess you can. Hopefully, you can jump in and out with somebody. I don't know.
Hopefully,
yeah.
But that being said, if all 3 of us played this game together, it's not going to be that awful, right?
No, I think there's probably enjoyment to be had there, much like a lot of games. Yeah, it's not what we wanted. It's not what the previous trailers. I don't want to say they're misleading, but they laid heavily on the characters and the story of what was going on.
Yeah.
It just, I don't know. But yeah, I'm kind of with Thick too. I think we're getting tired of these. I don't think this is something. I don't think we have time for another one of these. I don't have time to go, shoot 50 guys with some certain gun.
Right.
Like 3 times over.
It should have been a survival game. Am I right or am I right?
Survival game, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
With a little horror thrown in.
Sons of DC or something. Sons of the Forest. I don't know.
So what they did mention was the battle pass is all cosmetic. Now, I was just thinking about what they could do with the battle pass to be less kind of like grindy, and I feel like maybe like a good portion of it should be just exploring the world, like putting like to gain a level in your battle pass, you have to like go to this specific location and just do something, and then you just get that level. Like I feel like the battle pass needs to change a little bit for some of these games.
That's what they do in Fortnite. I can't stand it when they do that in Fortnite. Like
you didn't like that?
Drop in this point of interest and then do it 3 times, get 5 kills there, and then we'll give you some reward.
Yeah,
because I'm always like I want to drop where I want to drop. Like I want to be a lot more like gameplay oriented than like
I feel like they should have like a mission that's somewhat difficult, and then like you just get that point once you beat that mission.
Yeah.
That way to progress the battle pass. But I mean that's just an idea.
Yeah.
Well, or just have things in the world that you can work to get and then achieve them by playing the game.
Right.
What a novel idea.
Guys, when I was a little kid, I remember I have an older sister, and she would have her friends over, and like they'd play with Barbies, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They'd put clothes on the Barbies. I remember being a little kid being like, that does not interest me at all. And yet the games industry is essentially just like, do you want to?
They're making billions a week. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it's interesting how it's like, what's the percentage of people who are going to be playing Suicide Squad? It's mostly boys and men, right?
Right, probably.
And yet we want our little outfits on our little characters, right?
Right.
Okay,
it's insane to me. It's insane. I don't get it. I don't get it at all.
So let me just also point out that I'm not saying that I want a battle pass, but I'm just saying like they need to change it up rather than grinding like a XP bar.
Okay.
Yeah.
Scott, you said there'd be a lot of grinding. Hopefully Scott's wrong.
I know. I mean, I'm talking worst case scenario. I'm hoping that it's not going to be, and it may end up being very fun. But
yeah. Well, any last words on this game? I think it averaged to about a 60 Metascore for us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah,
sounds about right.
Pretty good.
I guess real quick, like the internet is like this game's gonna be dead in 6 months. Like this is gonna be one of those closed shop games of service games. Are both of you confident that this game's gonna die an early death?
No.
No, I'm not either. I think this could potentially find a market.
I think say maybe 1 or 2 years.
Really?
Yeah. Really? Yeah. I think it's going to come out. I think it's going to come out steaming, and then it's going to be another one of those. Oh, okay. Well, we'll fix that. Okay. Well, okay. Maybe things in the store are a little too expensive. We'll adjust that.
Right.
Okay. Maybe this is too grindy. Well, then we'll fix that.
Yeah.
And then after a year, it'll be like somebody will be posting, articles about, hey, Suicide Squad's kind of okay now.
And right. Then you can play as the Justice League.
Right.
Right.
I guess, too, when I look at this, I'm like, well, this is in a genre that I don't think this genre has a lot of huge misses, right? Like these time of co-op games, it doesn't seem like they bomb like Scott, you're going to roll your eyes when I say this, when arena shooters, like Knockout City, like that was just a quick bomb.
Yeah.
I feel like these co-op games maybe do a little bit better. Granted, I think Back 4 Blood is kind of on the way out, right?
It's on the way out.
Yeah, they've closed doors on that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
So one thing I want to also just add, I'd say it feels like Gotham Knights is more of an Arkham game than this game will be.
Yeah, probably.
That's true. That's very true. All right, enough talking about that. We got to jump into the rumor mill real quick, okay?
Yeah.
All right, rumor number 1. According to TafferKing451 on Twitter, EA is sending out surveys gauging potential interest in Dead Space 2 and Dead Space 3. Scott and Thick, how happy are you about this rumor?
Very.
Thick?
I mean neutral, because I still haven't beat the first one. I haven't even beat the original.
Oh, it's so good. You gotta play it.
I know.
Oh yeah, so you haven't picked up the remake, right?
I have not beat the original, which I do have. So
beat the original and then play Dead Space 2 in a few years when that comes out.
Okay, then we play Dead Space 3 co-op, right?
Yes. Oh, that's right. And Scott said they did some interesting things in Dead Space 3.
Very interesting, yeah.
Rumor number 2, according to the WB earnings call, Mortal Kombat 12 was accidentally named as an upcoming game in their release schedule. So I think this is the studio. Ed Boon, is it NetherRealm? NetherRealm?
Yeah, NetherRealm. Yeah.
They've kind of been vacillating between what is their superhero fighting game?
Injustice.
Injustice.
I think, right?
That's right. So they make a Mortal Kombat, then they make an Injustice. Now I think they just made a Mortal Kombat, and they're going back to Mortal Kombat. People seem to like these Mortal Kombat games. It seems like there's a story mode to them. Either of you interested in these?
Mm-mm.
Not
really.
I'm not, but at work, someone was playing the Mortal Kombat game movie. Like they just spliced all the scenes together.
Oh yeah.
And I thought it was pretty entertaining.
Maybe more interesting than any modern Mortal Kombats.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah.
That's funny.
All right. Andy Robinson of the BGC and Jez Corden of Windows Central have both suggested we're close to a Starfield showcase, potentially as soon as this upcoming week. Scott, how happy are you? Yeah.
I think it's false.
Oh, you don't think it's happening?
Nope.
Two decent rumor people. They have some credibility.
They've been wrong about this before. They also said it was going to be in end of January.
Yeah.
And we didn't get it.
I would like it, but yeah.
I would like it. I'm kind of, I'm almost over this game. I mean, I know this is like the biggest thing, but I'm getting a little tired of the, we're working on it. Oh, coming soon. Oh, just wait. Oh, it'll be here, soon. Or
right.
We're not gonna release it. We're not gonna give you a release date, but we're gonna talk about it soon.
You don't like the chatter.
I'm getting a little tired of it, and I think this game is ready. I think it's sitting there. They're waiting to push the button on it.
Oh wow! Stealth drop.
No,
Shadow
it's
drop.
not going to be it. No, they wouldn't do that for that big a game.
We need the collector's edition.
I think it's it's ready to go. They're waiting to get this deal done with Activision, or not, either way.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that they don't want that publicity, and they don't want that revenue right now.
Okay.
And that makes me really mad. So I'm kind of just putting this thing. I'm putting a pin in it. If they do it next week, that's fine. I just don't see my excitement going up until we get a release date of like next month.
Guys, just juxtapose what Scott's current vibe to when Starfield was revealed last E3. He was high as a what, Thick?
Yeah.
He was very up on this game. Now
as a balloon.
High as a balloon.
A weather balloon.
Those get pretty high.
From China. Yeah,
that's right. Real quick though, Thick, what do you want? What do you need to see out of the re-reveal at a potential showcase next week? What do you want to see? What's your main thing?
What I see? Collector's edition.
Oh my gosh.
That doesn't come with the disc, and
Scott, can you provide
needs an online connection.
I need my fake leather bag.
Oh my god.
Yeah, fake leather bag with and a disc, or a package with no disc in it.
Yeah, I need the cartridge.
Right.
Okay.
Oh man, that's what it's gonna be. He's probably honest. He's probably, when they do announce it, it's gonna be the collector's edition and no release date.
Yeah.
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 I need a helmet. I need a helmet or like a weapon from the thing.
It would be cool if they give you a helmet that you could wear while playing.
I have the Pit-Boy, the Fallout 4 Pit-Boy, like right next to me.
Oh man, I'm so jealous.
Was that a little Game Boy device?
Yeah, it fits on your arm just like in the game.
Okay. All right, moving on to rumor number 4. Jeff Grubb says the big PlayStation showcase highlighting Phase 2 of the PS5 was pushed back last summer because games were not ready to show. He expects a massive PlayStation showcase before E3 this year.
Hopefully.
I'm excited.
Yeah,
Hopefully.
that's pretty likely. Yeah.
I feel like that's kind of a rumor that, anyone could kind of make up.
But,
Yeah. But still waiting on that Helldivers 2. I'm gonna melt down if Helldivers 2 is basically just looks like that Justice League game. Which I think it could.
I don't think so.
I don't think
so. But I think it'll probably look a little bit
more grounded.
I would hope it would look
Yeah.
better. Yeah.
Yeah, I hope it's not 4 people with jetpacks on just
I hope
constantly
they keep
shooting.
the same, spirit as the first one, where it's kind of like very
Campy. Yeah.
campy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want first person And
Third person.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. We're moving along. Former Gears of War 2 writer and co-director Joshua Ortega is returning for Gears 6. He has also worked on Ghost of Tsushima, Spider-Man, and Star Wars. Scott, was Gears of War 2, was that a high point in the Gears story?
Absolutely.
I would say so. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, so this guy has
put it
some
on
talent.
PC. Yeah.
Good.
That's
All
a good thing. Yes, it's a very good thing. The writers for Gears 5, which I thought had an incredible story,
you did?
I think moved on to another studio.
Okay.
I think within Microsoft, but yeah. So this guy coming back to help with maybe smoothing some edges. That's a good thing.
Okay. Yeah, I want to give this a Metascore right now, but I'm gonna hold back because I don't think it's quite ready for me to give a Metascore.
No, since it's not been officially announced.
Yeah.
Quick thing, did you like the story to Gears 4?
Yeah.
Not as good, not as much as 5?
Not as much as 5. Yeah, it's a little bit too much bro as far as I don't know. The humor didn't really hit where it was supposed to, and there were some segments that were just a little bit too long. But yeah, Gears 5 I thought was excellent.
Can't wait we could be seeing this soon. We could be seeing it,
Hopefully.
Well, we did talk about this earlier. They had 2 games that were in production that they got canceled so that they can all go work on Gears 6, which happens probably more often than we know in a studio.
Right.
Bungie's done that before. Bungie's had multiple games in production, but then they all, scrape them, and work on the whatever's coming out that next one.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm hoping to see this. Probably an announcement at their E3 or their E3-ish expo.
For sure. Well, that's gonna end that segment of the podcast. We're gonna go to the big talk segment of the podcast.
Quick thing, I just want to add.
You got another rumor?
Well, not necessarily, but regarding what do you call it, the Starfield one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So basically, we should not pre-order Starfield if we want the ABK deal to go through, right? Is that we're kind of saying?
That's correct.
That would work. Yeah,
that's correct. Because they're going to show their pre-order numbers, and they have to show a low number.
Right.
Yes, very
so
nice.
yeah, just a PSA to everyone: don't pre-order Starfield.
Yeah, definitely.
But with
definitely
your
don't
dollar.
get the special edition.
Yeah.
With no disc and a online connection needed. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Scott, you were our biggest brain last week, but I think Thick is our biggest brain this week because of you made some mistakes in the Discord, and we have a more right. So Scott, tell us what's your big talk this week? What's your big talk?
Well, I with this thing with Activision, and well, not Activision, I'm sorry, with Microsoft and the Nintendo deal, it started to make me think, if they've got a 10-year deal for Call of Duty, if you're a Nintendo fan, what are you going to be playing Call of Duty on? If you even want to play Call of Duty. But it's obviously not going to be a Switch. We know that it's rumored they're working on a Switch 2. But if I was Nintendo, I don't know if I would have a Switch 2.
What?
Well, okay. When they had a Wii and a Wii U, they also had, a pocket version. They had the Game Boy Advance, the Game Boy 3D, and that was very profitable for them, and it did really well alongside that set-top box, right? I think maybe the next one may not be a Switch 2. It may be an actual console, and I think it may be an actual console that will compete with Xbox and PlayStation. Probably not to that, the level, but maybe more like a Xbox Series S. And then continue to make games for the original Switch that they have right now in production. That's what I would do.
Scott, stop wishful thinking. You would not do this. This is crazy.
Nintendo's really crazy. They do whatever they want to.
I'm really considering editing this out of the podcast because that's the craziest thing I've ever heard. Thick, tell him how insane what he just said is.
Well, I would say Nintendo's history is they combine their R&D for their portable and console because they were tired of splitting basically their resources between both.
Right.
So I would say I don't see this likely.
No.
I see them probably going with the Switch 2. Hopefully, maybe another deal with Nvidia, since they had one, with the Tegra chip, right? So, I'd expect a current Tegra chip to be way more powerful than maybe the Steam Deck. Possibly.
So okay, well there's an option. I mean, to maybe like you said, combine them both, have that power of that new console, but in a mobile
Scott,
format.
Put it in docked mode. You get
what? Yeah,
resolution.
720.
1080p this time.
Oh yeah, right. 1080p HD. Right.
Yeah.
No, I think that I think that deal is not. I think it says a lot about what they're doing.
Mhm.
And you might be right. I mean, again, this is what I would do if I was Nintendo. It's probably why I don't have a lot of money. But but you could be right. I didn't think about it that way. A Steam Deck type Nintendo device that's more powerful but still portable.
The thing I would think about though with that is pricing. Like they still want to keep probably the
right
$300, $400 price range. So I didn't really consider that when I just thought about it. But yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, if you do think about it, Valve has made hardware, but not like Nintendo.
Yeah.
Right. Nintendo knows how to make those deals, and they know how to make their hardware look good with minimal effort.
Valve is in the console industry now.
Yeah. Yeah, but they haven't always. I mean, they're still new to it. Nintendo is not. So I like your idea. I think that. So now, if I was Nintendo, I would release a Steam Deck type. Yeah.
Well,
I love how it's a Steam Deck type device when they have one. It's called the Switch, right?
No, it's not.
What do you mean?
The Switch is like your old phone. It's like the phone you've got in your drawer.
The Switch is a tablet. it's a BlackBerry tablet.
Well, what is the Steam Deck? What is the Steam Deck?
It's a PC. I mean, it's like a gaming PC. Yeah.
Yeah.
The next Switch is going to be powerful enough. It's going to be fine, right?
What will it be called? What do you guys think it will be called?
Switch, Super Switch.
Super Switch is
Super Switch.
Switch Blade.
Super Switch.
Yeah.
Switch Razor Blade, powered by Razer.
Yeah. Razer's got their own version of that too.
I'm actually going to answer the question that Scott just posed. If I'm Nintendo, first of all, I'm just doing a Switch 2, just standard, whatever.
So just slightly better.
Okay, not like 7
colors.
years better. 7 years better, right? Not slightly better. A big jump.
It's basically two Switches taped together.
That's right, with the GameCube. Maybe a GameCube attached too, right?
Yeah.
Right.
But here's what I'm doing. Here's the big thing.
Okay.
I think Nintendo needs to start releasing on PC too.
Yeah.
I just don't know why they're avoiding that market. Right?
Let me
ask you guys a question. If Breath of the Wild 2 or the first Breath of the Wild comes out on PC, how many units does that sell on Steam?
Oh wow, it would blow up.
Is that a 10 million unit seller?
Maybe.
It would sell a lot, but I think Nintendo's always been adverse about piracy. Like very adverse compared to others.
Yeah.
What do you think they're doing when they don't release them on PC?
They get pirated, yes.
Right.
Exactly.
You can play their games.
Yeah.
Well, okay, I don't want to endorse it, so I'm not going to keep going. But yeah,
I do.
Yeah.
Get an emulator.
Yeah.
I mean, if they're not going to release it on PC, there's ways around that.
Right.
As long as you own the copy.
Jake, let's just get real quiet together. Let's
Moment of silence.
Are you backing up? It's like I'm backing away from that one.
Oh yeah. Let me just do this. Need this too.
Yeah.
Okay,
nice.
okay.
Nice.
Okay.
I guess, was that my hot take for the week? Okay. Well,
Yeah.
We'll leave it at that.
That was a good hot.
Oh wait,
take.
I got low in my hand. I just realized that. Okay, there we go.
Oh. So Thick, if you're Nintendo, what are you doing? You're probably doing you're probably not doing what Scott just suggested.
Yeah, you had a much better idea.
I think I already mentioned what I do, I guess.
Yeah.
Steam
Deck.
What's the phrase like?
Switch Deck.
Don't mess with the golden calf. Is that a thing? Like they have a good thing going. You don't need to rock the boat. Right?
I mean, we don't know what Nintendo does because they've rocked the boat so many times.
Yeah.
Not to their dismay too, right?
Yeah.
Like with the Wii U, and then I guess to an extent the N64 or GameCube. But yeah.
Actually, I want to
Boy.
make an amendment to my if I was Nintendo thing. I want them to come out and announce 14 games as a service title before the year 2026.
Oh, that's not happening.
That's it.
Half of them are going to be farming games. Right?
Oh, no.
I mean, okay, have you looked at their mobile outings? They've been kind of poor in terms of like service, right? Like just like trying to provide like a ongoing mobile free to play model. It's not been good.
So they haven't had many hits on mobile?
Aside from Pogo, which is really more Niantic than anyone else, yeah.
Oh, really? What is Pogo?
Pokemon Go?
Oh, okay, that's Pogo. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was huge for that. I mean, that still is huge, but it was crazy when that thing first kicked off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right, Thick. Introduce listeners to your big talk this week.
Okay, so I was listening to a TED Talk podcast. It was about sports, and I'm not a big sports guy, but it was talking about being in the zone. You guys know what the being in the zone is, right?
Flow, yeah.
Like flow state, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like, do you guys ever get in the zone when you play games? Like, I know maybe you guys aren't, like, you guys like the competitive nature of it, and what about Nate? Because I feel like Nate.
Yeah, I'm completely over any game design where the developers want you to like advance. Like I want my brain to be like, okay, how do I tackle this situation? Right. And I think that's what puts me into flow, as opposed to like, we're gonna make it so it's easy for you to get through it, right?
Yeah, that's one way to put it.
I mean, isn't the definition of flow? It's like there's an X and a Y scale, right? There's difficulty on the Y scale, right? Very difficult to not very difficult, and then there's.
Oh, I'm not sure. I'm talking more like being in a competitive game. Like
I think what he's saying is it's more of when you have like a disconnection of what's around you, and you're so into what you're doing,
you're just
that
doing it.
you can do it much better
without thinking. Yeah.
Right. It's not so much thinking. It's just like you're
doing. Less thinking, more doing.
Right.
You're just reacting. You're reacting.
Right. You're reacting and you just kind of go with it, and you're in the zone, you're.
Yeah, and like you kind of know when you're out of it, because like, well, it's probably when the match ends usually. I feel like I've had that sort of feeling when I play Overwatch sometimes. Like we're losing the whole time, but then like at the end it's overtime and we actually win, because like I'm not even thinking about like anything else besides staying on the point, staying alive. I don't care if anyone's being negative to me, like just throwing crap. It's it just happens. And I have a clip of one game where I was doing that. I don't know if I want to show you guys, but like but like you can't really get into the zone like on demand, right? It just happens.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's kind of what this podcast is about, and it's supposed to be about sports. But I think the key thing that kind of meant, the key takeaway I got from it was talking about mental resilience, which is kind of like what I was hinting at, right? It's like about having calm and focus regardless of whether things are going your way or not. And that's kind of like how I would say I felt in that, let's say that one Overwatch match. And they say there's a method you can kind of do to kind of like kind of get you in that space, is instead of like thinking like negative thoughts or positive thoughts, you just think very neutral thoughts. Like, do you know what I mean by that? Like this thing is 100%. Happening. Yeah. So.
Right. It's like you're losing it, your sense of awareness. You're losing your track of time because you're just focused on,
the objective,
the task, the objective. Yeah.
Let me. One thing.
Oh, go ahead.
Actually, you go ahead.
Well, I wanted to ask both of you guys this: throughout your workday, what percentage of your workday do you feel like you're in flow versus, you're like, oh crap, this is boring.
I feel like I do get in the zone at work. But it's mostly because it's like a multitasking in the zone, because there's like always a lot happening. Yeah. And then like I'm, like I have another coworker who I kind of give directives, so I direct them. Then I also got to talk to these people, and then so like I can get in the zone kind of, but not when I'm tired.
Throughout your workday, is there ever a moment in the day where you're like, oh my gosh, it's already 3:00? Like, where
that's
did the day
happened
go?
before.
That has happened before. Okay.
Yeah.
Scott, what about you? What percentage of your day?
Not my current job, but
Okay.
Previous jobs, yes. When
All
you've
right.
got the workflow, and there's that word again, coming in, and it's coming in, and you're sending it out, and it just kind of comes in, take care of this, and this is out, and this out, and you're just like checking off lists, and before you know it, it's 5 o'clock, and
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Honestly, it gets pretty exhausting. So I could see why someone would want to do it.
Yeah.
Right.
When you're done, it's like somebody tells you to stop, or it's time to quit, and you're like,
Yeah.
Oh wow, what a day. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, Thick, how come you relegated this conversation to competitive games? Because I feel like the best games, be it a single player or a multiplayer, like the best games get players into flow, right? So like Tetris is a big one, right?
Yeah, that's. I feel like that's a different flow. Like.
Oh, I don't think so.
Like
I
a more
agree with that.
serene flow. Like I feel like the competitive one has a different meaning to me. But I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Like Doom Eternal gets like into this flow state too.
Yeah.
I think it's like when you see the commercial for the game and the guy's like sliding and throwing a knife at this guy and jumping up and shooting this guy, and then like jumping behind this guy and sticking a grenade to him, and
like
then
that finals trailer, the
finals trailer. Yeah, that's
exactly.
That was the most absurd stuff that I'll never do.
I know. Well,
same with Titanfall trailers.
But that's the point, though. It's like when you do those things, when you like land those things, and you're like, whoa, it's like you run with it, and you just kind of zone out for a minute, not think about anything, and just do that. You can find that you can do those things because you're not, I don't really know how to do it, but
you're not like consumed in your mind. You're consumed in the moment.
Right.
Kind of. Yeah.
Right. You don't have that external thought. There's no external thought. It's just what you're doing at that time. And you pull that stuff off, and then it's like, oh, you see the trailer and you're like, that's ridiculous. You'll never be able to do that in the game. And then when you do it, it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's the best example I can think of.
I agree to that.
So I looked up flow because I think I bought a flow book by some like Russian author. I think he's like the father of this concept of flow.
Mm-hmm.
But so the y-axis is level of challenge, right? Mm-hmm. And then the x-axis is your skill level, right? So like if you're like operating on a brain, if you're a brain surgeon and you don't have the necessary skill level, then you're in like an anxiety frame of mind, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you have a high degree of skill but your challenge is very low, then you're in the boredom zone, right? So it's like when your skill level and your challenge kind of meets in a certain area, that's when kind of flow kicks in.
Okay.
Right.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one way to put it. Yeah.
I know you'll hear a lot of I watch more sports than you guys, but you'll hear a lot of like rookie athletes. They'll say like, what's the difference between your rookie year, your first year, and your year number 2? They all say the same thing. It's like, oh, the game has like slowed down for me.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, obviously, the game isn't slowing down for them. But what they're doing is like they're able to recognize the patterns a little bit quicker, and they're able to react to them a little bit quicker. So it's like, they're not struggling in that anxiety. They're like in the flow a little more often, right?
Like Quicksilver and X-Men.
Yeah,
Quicksilver and X-Men. Oh, Silver Surfer. You mean Silver Surfer?
No, like Quicksilver. He's running so fast. Everybody else is so slow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is he like the Flash, but for Marvel?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He like moves people around. It's like it's bullet. He like diverts it, because he's so fast, but you're seeing him in that time, in real time, and everything else around him is slow. That's what I feel like is perceived when somebody's saying this, like when it slows down for them, that it's not like you say, it's not an anxiety. It's more of, you can see things happening in the directions that they're going, a little bit clear.
Mm-hmm. I want to ask Thick a question. Thick, on my Discord, for some reason, when you play Overwatch, it says Thick's playing Overwatch. I feel like you're that might be one of your most played games in the past 6 months, or right?
I play it a lot. Yeah,
you do play it a lot. Do you play it with a mic?
I do not actually,
You
but
do
I don't
not?
play
Okay.
competitive. I just play unranked because
Oh, you do.
I'm kind of playing it casually. But
Mhm.
regardless whether it's casual or not, I play to win, right?
You're trying to win. Now, why do you stay away from the ranked then? Because a little more toxicity?
I don't really care about numbers. I just care about
Okay.
playing.
Okay. I know because I played a ton of Overwatch before Fortnite came out, and I was always whenever what's the casual mode called? Like
Unranked.
unranked. You'd get these people who are like, I'm gonna try to play who's that sniper, like Widowmaker?
Yeah.
Like you'd get people who are like, I'm not playing the objective, I'm just gonna do my own thing. And for me that always kind of ruined the experience, whereas I'm like, I didn't really care about my rank, but I liked playing ranked because everyone was like they were filling their roles, or at least trying to fill their roles, right? Yeah.
I think well actually related to this topic, like toxicity, like how people deal with toxicity is part of the how you would cause you to get out of a flow state, right? Because I feel like if you kind of ignore it and just do your best, that's all you can really do. But like some people like get tilted, right? Like they once like someone just said something, like it ruins the whole match for themselves. Like it's kind of like whoever's the guy that's tilting them is fulfilling the prophecy that everyone kind of sucks on this team or something, right? Because they just start like basically tilting everyone that way.
Right. I know when I was playing Overwatch, I was trying to get I think there's platinum level right after gold, right?
Yeah.
I was trying to get in that. I was in it for like a month and then I could never get back in it. But I remember one thing was like, okay, what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to be real positive and like, because I feel like when on a team, if there's someone who's like, okay, guys, what role should I play? What do you guys see out there? Then the toxic people who have potential to turn toxic are like, I'll try this round, right?
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like when you're quiet, then the toxic guy, if he recognizes something's not going his way, he's like, oh, I'm gonna start yelling at people. Right?
Gun,
yeah,
that sort of thing.
So
that's not just Overwatch.
Because they're saying like you
no,
need
that's
mental resilience
for
for that. Yeah. Like you guys, if you guys haven't listened to the podcast yet,
all right, that was good. Did you send it in the Discord?
It did. It's
deep, man.
The Truth About the Zone with Steph Curry.
Okay.
The Good Sport podcast.
Okay.
But one thing, when I think about like a biathlon where you're doing two things, it kind of reminds me of certain things in games, which is kind of like a raid encounter in Destiny. You're doing one thing and then it shifts to another phase. And then like if you don't do that phase correctly, things fall apart. So like it's kind of like similar to a biathlon where like you're skiing as fast as you can down, but then you got to shift
gears.
Yeah, but then if you don't shoot correctly, it impacts the other half.
Right.
So I thought that was interesting. Like I think like that sort of thing could be applied to more game design, I feel.
I read a I don't know if it was a poll, a study recently. They said like 75% of gold medalists like turn to methamphetamine within 5 years. Have you guys heard that? Like they become addicted to crack?
Wow.
No. That turned dark quick.
I'm sorry, that was an attempt at a joke. Okay.
Okay.
That was not.
Okay.
I was like, really?
No, I thought what I heard is like there's a certain percentage of gold medalist winner in that they'll sell their gold medal after a certain amount of time because life is like other parts of their life are buffing up. But
yeah,
I went
like
the crack out.
They didn't get anything. I feel like that's probably playing Titanfall 2.
That game's so bad. It's not a good game.
Shut up, Nate. The traversal in it and the shooting, it's not like you're standing there and you're trying to outshoot somebody. You're jumping and walking on a wall and, at the same time.
Yeah.
So that takes a different kind of mental fortitude than just playing like a Call of Duty or, a CSGO match or something, right?
Man, you make me miss playing multiplayer and Titanfall.
Yeah, I wish it was a thing, and wasn't just scraped out of existence. But oh well.
Oh well. All right, guys, should I jump into my big talk for the week?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, there's a game coming out this week that I kind of want to introduce to you guys in kind of hopefully a fun way. It's probably not going to be fun, but we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
Both of you are familiar with the show called The Voice, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
you got the 4 judges. They turn their chair around, and then as the singer is singing, if they really like it, they'll hit a button, and then their chair flips around.
Right.
What we're gonna play today is called the Goice. It's like the voice, but it's the Goice with a G because games.
Right, I get it.
You understood it too?
It took me like 5 seconds. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So we're playing the Goice. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna read out 10 bullet points, right?
Okay.
And I want you to tell me if like.
Are we raising our hand, or are we like how are we
why
gonna
don't you use your raise hand button on the Skype so I can see it? Okay.
Okay.
So at the end of these 10 bullet points, you're either like, I'm not turning my chair around, or like, I am in. Oh, and then I guess there's another one like, we'll see. I gotta see more.
Okay. So is this just one round, like, or is this a couple?
No. This is like, so essentially what I'm doing is I'm singing for 2.5 minutes in front of you, and then you're gonna hit your button.
That's what the 10 bullet points are, right?
Basically. Yeah, the 10 bullet points are me singing, like, but I'm not singing. Okay. I'm not singing them, right? I'm just gonna list them off. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So number 1, this game is played in the first-person perspective. Neither of you have hit your button yet. Okay. Number 2, this game has Fortnite-style cartoony graphics. Number 3. Okay, Scott, stay with me. All right. I'm a little pitchy right now.
I know. It's like it's not narrowing it down.
Yeah.
All right. Number 3.
It's very broad.
Number 3. This title is a multiplayer-only title, no single player. Number 4. This game is made by an 18-person studio, so this is like an indie project, okay?
Okay.
Number 5, do you guys remember my multiplayer rubric? I had like 4 ways to gauge a multiplayer game.
Keep going.
This game does not score well in my multiplayer rubric, right?
Okay.
We'll move on. Okay. Number 5, number 6, guns are involved, but it's definitely not a shooter. Number 6. It's a hero-based PvP title. So
should I do it? I'm gonna do it.
Oh, so you're sold?
That I don't know. Okay, keep going.
Wow.
I'll do it. So you have like 10 characters, and they each have like unique abilities, right?
Okay.
It's hero-based.
Okay, no, keep going.
All right, number 8. $20 price point on this title. $20. Okay. Number 9.
I got my hand up.
Number 9. It's the whole theme of the game is it's a spy theme. Like James Bond, like spy, like infiltrate, exfiltrate.
Okay.
Scott,
okay.
Are you being sarcastic?
No, that's
You're somewhat in.
I thought you took your hand down there.
Yeah, that's so you got me sold on it. Yeah.
All right. And the last one, number 10. The 2 biggest gameplay inspirations or the design inspirations for this title are Prop Hunt. You know those Prop Hunt games?
Yeah.
And Among Us. You know Among Us?
Yeah.
Wait, did you just undo it?
I did. You lost me.
Wait, I was singing a great song. How come you undid it? Those 2 titles, those 2 genres don't.
I'm out.
That's like a troll description.
That was.
Wait, doing that at the very end?
Yeah, doing that at the very end.
Yeah, that should have been the one. That's the lead in. That's what you should lead with.
No. I mean, this is not a prop hunt game. It just has those. It has some of those mechanisms in the game.
Prop hunt is a trigger word.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I didn't even like writing it. I was honestly thinking about omitting it from my song, right?
Yeah.
So the title of this is called Deceive Inc. Have you guys seen this trailer, Deceive Inc? I want you guys to go look at the trailer right now. Go to YouTube and just watch 10 minutes of the trailer.
I think I've heard of it.
You have heard of it? Essentially, yeah. It's like 10 spies enter like a complex. They need to like steal something from a vault, and all 10 spies are kind of like hidden from the other 10 players. I think it's a 12-player game.
Okay.
So
yeah, it is. Yeah.
It is 12. So is this something you're like, I'm intrigued by a little bit? Or are you like...
I'm intrigued enough, but long term, I don't see long term. Because that's when I hear Prop Night and Among Us, I feel like... Yeah.
I know like some of the characters have the ability to turn into like a planted pot, right? Or a chair. Mm-hmm. And then they just watch other characters, which, that's there's something about this game. I know like everyone's like, what is it? March is like a big month for titles.
Yeah.
And I'm like, the internet's not talking about Deceive Inc. And I feel like the internet should be talking about
Deceive Inc. is such a generic name too. Like
Stop
they
it.
should have chosen a better
You know
name.
what?
This
You know what's
this
a-
is
You know what's a generic name? Dead Space or
Among
you know
Us.
what's generic? Battlefield. Battlefield is generic.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Or
it wasn't at the time though.
look, this is an organization, an incorporated organization based on Deceive.
I'll redact what I said. I think it's okay. The name is okay.
Okay.
Wow,
Thank
this
you, Vic.
this
Thank you.
has got a lot of things to it, doesn't it?
Scott, as you're watching this, I see your eyes right now. I feel like your body language is like you're cringing a little bit.
Well, it's just I don't know. There's two things I'm getting just kind of really bored and tired of.
The Fortnite style graphics.
The Fortnite style graphics.
I'm okay with.
And yeah, the service open world, go to the tower and open up a
No,
new
this is
whole
not
bunch
one of those games.
No, I know. I'm just saying I'm not putting those together. I'm just saying
Yeah.
If this was one or the other, I'd be like, eh. And this is one if not the other.
What if they had both?
Well, I mean, yeah, even more so. But it looks interesting. Just there's so much that I'm looking at. There's so much that is going on in this preview that I really can't tell what it's really about.
To me, it was the type of game where I'm like, that onboarding, it looks like a nightmare. Like I have no idea what you're like. Usually games like you see the trailer and you're like, okay, I get the game. Like I understand the loop. This is like, what the heck are you doing?
I know.
Right?
This looks like there's going to be about like 10 people out there that like live for this game.
Right.
And then they just constantly talk about it and try to get other people to play it.
Yeah, it's gonna be me. This is coming out in 3 weeks. This is not the last you heard. This is not the last you heard of Deceive Inc. All right.
Wait. Okay. Well, is it free to play?
No, it's $20.
That's right. $20.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Make it 10. Make it 10.
Make it 10. You'll be interested maybe.
Well, I'll definitely check it out. I mean, it's not. It's a trailer. You can't.
Yeah, I know.
You got to play it.
What was I going to say? I have two questions for you. I guess I have one question for you. Do you feel like the Goice was a segment of the podcast that had potential? Like, could there be future Goices?
Yeah, I like that.
I think that's fun.
Yeah,
but
okay.
I think we should each do one. We should take turns on this one.
Okay, hey,
I don't know about
happy.
that.
I'm happy. But
okay.
Yeah, try to put your deal breakers near the end of the list because we'll stop listening if you put it in the beginning of the list.
Right.
No,
I feel like deal breakers should be in the very beginning.
No.
It slowly gets better.
Okay, all right. Well, I guess we'll see. We'll see if maybe we'll do it down the road.
Yeah.
This is just my way to signal boost the little man in a sea of a month full of big AAA titles that we
Deceive Inc. Sponsored us.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. I mean, and you said this is how many people studio?
I think it was 18. It said 18-person studio.
Yeah.
And they said they were made up of a bunch of AAA developers. So I think the aesthetics actually look pretty decent for a small title.
I mean, it always looks fun. I mean, I don't put that. I wouldn't turn down playing a good game because it looked like that. It's just you're getting a little tired of it.
Yeah. Real quick before I end the podcast, I do have something to say to you guys. Remember when we did our year-end awards and I gave Best Art Direction to Horizon?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna redact that. I'm redacting that because
there's a lot of redacting.
It's Deceive Inc., right?
Yeah.
No, I just started playing Elden Ring.
Oh yeah.
Right. I've been like, there's got to be an RPG out there for Nate, and the art style in that game is phenomenal.
Isn't it?
It's disgusting that I listed Horizon Forbidden West as Best Art Direction.
Yeah.
I'm ashamed.
You did not talk about you starting Elden Ring.
Well, I put it at the end of the podcast because there's more for me to get in there.
Okay. So next week.
Yeah, next week. I'll do that next week.
Okay.
For sure. All right. Well, do either of you guys have some parting? You know what? Scott has a job to do right now. Scott,
what's that?
Your job is to tell listeners how to reach us.
Well, you can reach us at our, like you said at the beginning of the show, our YouTube channel, The Supply Drop at YouTube. And also our email address is thesupplyDropPodcast@gmail.com. Yes.
And Thick is definitely prepared for some wise words.
Yes.
I know he's super. Yeah, I can see it in his face. He's thinking of which wise phrases to pick this week. It could be a short one. It could be just.
I have nothing.
It could be like a Star Wars quote.
You
It could
got
be
no
like,
wise words.
Okay. Yeah, completely whiffed on this one.
Well, I'll give one. It's do or do not. There is no try.
Yeah. Okay.
And I did not.
All right. All right, guys. Well, the band is playing us off. We have to shut this down. All right.
I could hear the violins.
Yeah.
All right.
Hear the music's playing.
Yeah.
See everyone 1 week from today on Monday. All right.
All right.
All right.
Have a good week.